Hello everyone, X-Wall Kill Bethelite here, and we're still on safari here. We're still on safari, and I'm guarding my fingers here. Yummy, 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 yummy. Yummy, 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 yummy. Guarding my fingers here. But yeah, basically, in summary, you done made me spill feed all in my lap now. Here it is. This is my buddy. He can have the rest of this feed here. So basically, what we're going over here is something that would help a Jehovah's Witness as far as other churches are concerned, because there's no real reason to have bad relationships with your relatives who go to church if all you need is to better understand churches. And the best way to do that is explain it in a way a Jehovah's Witness can understand. And that is that all the things that Watchtower says about other churches, that's old light. That is old light. You're not going to go into a church and find anybody worshiping a statue. I don't care how nice that Catholic church is. I don't care how many statues they have. I don't care how many pictures they have in there depicting Jesus or depicting anything else Christian. But you're not going to find anybody worshiping those statues. Those statues are not idols. That's old light. To help a Jehovah's Witness understand, that concept is old light. Other civilizations a long time ago, before Christianity, they used to make statues and idols and say that that was their God, and they would worship them. Right? So that teaching is old. That teaching, that concept predates Christianity, essentially. And we don't want to... Watchtower, Jehovah's Witnesses should not hold that against churches. That someone else a long time ago used to worship a statue or believe that that statue was their God. Right? That's to a Jehovah's Witness, that should be old light. No one teaches that anymore. Christians never did teach it, to my knowledge. But no one teaches that anymore. So just like Jehovah's Witnesses don't still teach that Beth Serene is a place where people from the Bible are going to get resurrected, they don't still teach that Beth Serene is a place in the Bible where people are going to get resurrected. That's old light to them. That's old teaching. You're not even supposed to look into that old stuff. Well, statues being worshipped as gods and being used as idols is old stuff. Christians don't do it. It's old stuff that somebody else in some other civilization used to do. So if a Catholic has got a church and those churches have got really nice things, statues and things like that, Jehovah's Witnesses don't have to be worried and afraid that those statues are going to come to life and get them. They're just statues. What Jehovah's Witnesses are afraid of is old light. What a Jehovah's Witness should think of as old light, right? And then the teachings on holidays, anything that's not Christian. I kind of want to go to the left here and go around these guys, because what happens is there's no animals here, but people will just park anyway, or just essentially just chill in areas where there aren't any animals. And then everybody's kind of looking like, what are y'all doing? But to help a Jehovah's Witness who wants to maybe go and visit a church is to understand that half of the things that Watchtower has you guys afraid of is what we today, it's what we today would consider old light. Or I'm sorry, a Jehovah's Witness would consider old light. In old teaching, nobody teaches it anymore. And according to Watchtower, old light is something that you shouldn't look into. Right? I've seen people go up to Jehovah's Witnesses and say, hey, look at this teaching. And they'll immediately say, hey, is that from an old Watchtower? They'll say, yeah, okay, that's old. That's old light. We don't teach that anymore. We don't even look into it anymore. Okay, well, most of the things that Watchtower blames churches for, as far as holidays or anything pagan at all, that's old light. No church teaches that. It's not taught anymore. So it shouldn't be looked into. People shouldn't look into it. We'll turn the camera back around to the safari once we get to some animals. I don't know why people stop just in the middle of the street and there ain't no animals and they're just chilling. There might be something down here and people may have stopped to look at it. But yeah, may flip the camera back around here. That concept is something I think should help a Jehovah's Witness understand a church. Because what Watchtower has told them about churches are no longer true. It's no longer true. There is no church that teaches that Halloween is some day where, I mean, and this animal here, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, that's a chickaboo here. You guys didn't think I didn't know what a chickaboo was. That's what that is if you're a Final Fantasy fan. That's an ostrich, I believe. And from my understanding, they can kick. That bird does not have wings where he can fly, but from my understanding, that guy can kick. Now everybody's moving. That's what stopped traffic. Everybody was visiting with him, and then now that he left, now you see everybody's moving. But this can really help a Jehovah's Witness understand Christianity. It can help them understand Christianity, because all those things that Watchtower is saying about churches and paganism are all what Watchtower would call old light if it was connected to them. Right? Just like Bethel, they used to have Christmas and Christmas tree at Bethel and stuff like that. Well, Watchtower would say, don't look at that anymore. That's old light. We don't do that anymore. Well, all the paganism and things like that they connect to Christmas, that's old light. Nobody does it. Nobody does that stuff. Easter, all those holidays are things that there's nothing pagan going on now, today. There's nothing going on pagan, right? Those are holidays that are used to teach about Christianity. So I'm trying to determine if I should go back through this safari, because I still got a whole nother bag of delicious feed here for the animals. But that will help a Jehovah's Witness really understand what Watchtower is telling you about these churches. That's old light. Nobody teaches anything in regards to anything pagan anymore. That's Watchtower. That's Jehovah's Witnesses' biggest thing. Oh, that's pagan. Oh, that's pagan. Oh, everything's pagan. Everything's pagan. No, that's old light. There's nothing pagan in connection to it anymore. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the safari trip here. And finally, I think I can get around some of these people. But yeah, I don't know. I might go back through. I might go back through the safari. Now that I know where things are. And I got this bag of feed where I can just kind of pull over and feed one of the animals here. That and the lines aren't as bad. All right, safari it is. Right, and then the whole thing about other churches' teachings, you know, whether a person believes that Jesus is divine, or a person who is a Jehovah's Witness believes that Jesus is an angel. The main thing is, you know, a Christian should be able to respect another Christian's beliefs, right? Because Watchtower doesn't want anybody making fun of how foolish Watchtower's teachings were in the past. They don't want anybody making fun of those things. They don't want anybody pointing those things out and saying, hey, you guys used to, I mean, Charles Taze Russell still got a big, you know, pyramid over at the gravesite there. They don't want anybody, these guys are all sleepy here. They don't want anybody pointing out Watchtower's teachings and talking about how Jehovah's Witnesses sit around and pass emblems at the memorial, or you could call it the Lord's evening meal. They go to the Lord's evening meal and don't eat nothing, because Jehovah's Witnesses think that 144,000, only 144,000 people can partake of the bread and the wine at the Lord's evening meal. Why do they think that? Jesus stated that there are other sheep, and those also he should bring. That's the only reason. That's the only freaking reason these people believe that only 144,000 people can partake of the bread and the wine at the Lord's evening meal. And whatever that is flying around, he's not coming in here. Now, as stupid as that is, for somebody to look at a verse where Jesus said that there's other sheep that he also must bring, and to jump to the conclusion that what that means is that there's 144,000 people that are going to go to heaven, and that everybody else is the other sheep that he's talking about, and that all these other sheep aren't invited to partake of the Lord's evening meal. They can't have You see that? This guy just invited himself to the safari here, that dragonfly or whatever that is. But Jehovah's Witnesses literally think today, this isn't an old teaching, this is a current teaching. Just because Jesus said he has other sheep and those also he must bring, they jump to the conclusion that there's a group of people called the other sheep and they're not allowed to eat none of the bread and the wine at the memorial. Oh my goodness, how ridiculous and how stupid. So if you don't want people talking about how dumb your teachings are, then don't talk about other Christian teachings when they talk about Christ being divine, Christ being one with the Father. Don't talk about that, because we can get on your teachings then. We can get on your teachings about Michael the Archangel basically having a split personality, and Michael the Archangel is Jesus when Jesus was on earth, but they just gave him a different name. He was on earth under a fake ID, basically. Jesus, when he was on earth, had a fake ID, and they called him Jesus. And then he went back to heaven, and he's back Michael again. Like, these teachings Jehovah's Witnesses have are ridiculous, right? And it would not be polite for another Christian to point out how stupid your teachings are. You wouldn't appreciate it. They can do it because they are stupid, but it's not polite. It's not the Christian thing to do to just belittle people and make them feel bad because they read their Bible and came up with something stupid like Jehovah's Witnesses did. How Jehovah's Witnesses read in the Bible where Jesus said that there are other sheep, those also he must bring, and they came out from reading that scripture with this whole concept that these other sheep can't eat none of the bread and can't drink none of the wine at the Lord's evening meal. And that 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses are the only ones that can partake at the Lord's evening meal, and they're the only ones that are going to be going to heaven. And you know, the part of the scripture where it says that the 144,000 are all from the tribes of Israel and they're all virgins and all this stuff. Well, we'll just ignore all that. Let's just ignore all that. Jehovah's Witnesses say, okay, that stuff's symbolic and it don't really mean anything. But the 144,000 part, well, that's literal. How in the world did they know that scripture that states that number, 144,000, well, that's literal, and everything else in the scripture about the 144,000 being from the tribes of Israel and being virgins and all those other things are all symbolic. Everything in that scripture is symbolic, but the number 144,000, that's literal. That is the dumbest thing anybody has ever come up with in the history of all of Christianity. In all of Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses have got the dumbest teachings. So to help a Jehovah's Witness understand, well, how can I essentially be peaceful with other Christians? Well, don't talk about their teachings because yours are twice as dumb as anybody else's could possibly be. Right? You may not think that their teachings are exactly accurate, but yours are freaking stupid. So just don't talk about any other church, any other denomination. We got Bambi out here. Where's Bambi? It's amazing how popular Disney shows are, because probably everybody looks at a deer now and thinks about Bambi. Like, that Disney movie about Bambi represents all of deer now. Like, that show is so popular. I remember when I first started learning about other churches, I actually remember going inside of churches and just questioning the pastor. Jehovah's Witnesses say this about your church. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses say that. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses say the other. And they were polite about it. They could have easily said, well, you guys freaking believe the end of the world is coming in 1975, so you don't need to be talking about nobody else. He could have easily said that. But did he say it? No. The people that I would go up to, and I'm not joking, when I first started to wake up, I literally just started going inside churches. Wasn't even invited. I would go inside of a church and say, hey, is the pastor here? Yeah, he's right over there. And I remember the guy was eating. They had some good food at that church. The guy was eating. He stopped eating his food because somebody said somebody was here to see him, and he went to come talk to me. We went to his little office, and he sat down and talked with me, and he didn't mind me talking about their teachings. What about this? What about that? Where is that in the Bible? He just show you where it is in the Bible, and it's okay to question all the teachings. It was perfectly okay to question all those teachings. A Jehovah's Witness, on the other hand, you go in the back room with the elders and start questioning all their teachings and start asking them, well, show me exactly how y'all jumped to the conclusion that when Jesus said other sheep, he's literally talking about that number 144,000. Well, that's literal, and that's a literal cap on the number of people that could possibly be in heaven. Ooh, that's Impala. Try to toss him some victuals, and he's like, quit throwing stuff at me. Now that's Impala. Impala are cool. There's Bambi. Bambi number 1, Bambi number 2, Bambi number 3, Bambi number 4. Let's toss some of this feed out here. He don't look well. But yeah, I went from different churches. I talked to a priest before. He didn't mind me asking questions. He didn't mind me looking around the church. There was a Catholic priest that showed me around the church. Hey, this is this is that. These statues are what we call artwork. Nobody's worshiping it. If they are, they're not supposed to be. And these things aren't going to come alive and get ya. We're Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't got to worry about that. Okay, you get Bambi? Is it like feed? Yeah, it's like feed. Delicious. Should I try one of these delicious morsels? Just joking. I didn't eat it. They look like they might be tasty though, but I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to wait until the video's done and then after the video try some of this delicious feed here. That's not what's going to happen here. You two have some of this delicious feed here. But yeah, this should help Jehovah's Witnesses. Everything that they say is pagan It's all old light. It's all old stuff nobody teaches anymore. And they shouldn't look into it and try to blame other churches for it, just like Watchtower does not want people to look at their old teachings, their old light. The only difference is Watchtower really did teach false teachings. The other churches, all the stuff about paganism, those churches didn't teach that. Jehovah's Witnesses are connecting things that were taught by other freaking civilizations and connecting it to what Christians teach. Christians teach about Christianity. Up here where there's more animals, I'm gonna distribute the rest of this feed here. I went and got like 2 bags of it. But yeah, comment down below, let me know what you think. Those teachings from other churches, hey, none of them teach anything bad about any kind of holiday. You know what I mean? If somebody dresses up like Wonder Woman and goes knocking on doors asking for candy, her parents do not teach her that Halloween is a time where dead people come to life or something like that. No. She just dresses up like Wonder Woman and goes knocking on doors and asking for candy. You know what I mean? So come on now. That's old light. That's some other civilization taught. Jehovah's Witnesses need to quit bringing up old light that other civilizations taught and trying to blame people today for it. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Beautiful day. Beautiful day. The only thing about these safaris is, you know, once people find animals that they like, they pretty much park by it. This road is supposed to be wide enough so that you can pull over and park and look at the animals and other people can go past you. But the road isn't that wide. So what happens is people kind of start looking at the animals and then everybody behind them is just kind of like stuck behind them. So yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses think COVID is something more serious than Armageddon because they stopped preaching about Armageddon. And you can't call writing a letter preaching. That ain't no preaching. Writing no letter or calling random people is not preaching. Preaching is pretty much done in a group of people. And you also can't go them knocking on doors and nobody answering and them just going around a whole block knocking on doors and putting pamphlets in people's doors preaching. Jehovah's Witnesses, this preaching stuff ain't happened in a long time. It was a long time ago where people really used to answer the doors and talk to Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't even do it anymore. Jehovah's Witnesses ain't been preaching in a long time, but what little they used to do, they pretty much stopped doing because of COVID. Oh yeah, they still preach. They put magazines in laundromats. That ain't preaching. Goofball, that's not preaching. Well, they write letters and put them in random people's mailboxes and they don't even know if the people are opening this stuff. That's not preaching. That's freaking writing a letter to somebody you don't know and you don't even know if they're opening the stuff up. Comment down below, let me know what you think. See that water in the distance there? Comment down below, let me know what you think. X-Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.